Jesus talks about stewards and us being stewards of typically a household and trying to manage things well and do things well, not just for the good of the top person in the household, but for the good of the servants in the household as well. And I think this business of stewardship is very important. Stewardship of a church building like this, but also stewardship of the creation that we live in and the planet that we live on. Trying to look after that well, trying to make sure there is a good planet for future generations. We came to a crisis point because our church was very cold, the heating system wasn't working very well, but we were already right at the top of the rated capacity of 28 kilowatts for the electricity supply. And in fact, we'd had a fire through going over the capacity. We were aware we needed to be more environmentally friendly, so we started to make the changes, and the changes were mainly about the heating system, installing the under-pew heating, getting LED light bulbs in, and this really has halved our electricity consumption. It's very dramatic, the saving. Then there was the step of moving to a renewable electricity supplier, and this meant that we were substantially carbon neutral on our activities. And obviously this has an environmental benefit, it has a cost benefit, but we wanted to do it in a way that was comfortable for the people in the pews so that the worship could continue.
During the winter months, it could be quite cold. And now, since this under-pew heating has been installed, has made a big difference to mainly an older congregation that we've got here.
The lovely thing is now I can put my hands near the heaters and I can actually turn the pages in the hymn book and the prayer book in a much more relaxed way, instead of being taut and shivering.
In this process, I think my role was more about cheering other people on and encouraging them. And of course, I'm very interested in this goal of net zero, which the Church of England has set itself as a target for 2030. But when you find you're able to make a step, and maybe you can encourage others to take a step as well, then that's a very encouraging thing. I feel good about that. When I pray about the environment, I pray especially about justice, and that we can find just solutions to these problems, because we're very aware that the Western world has created the climate crisis, but it's the southern states generally that suffer the consequences of it. So there's a huge justice issue there, and it's much bigger than any one of us can deal with on our own. So prayer is a very important part of it, and encouraging others to pray and trying to change our mindsets in front of God, so that we can move towards just outcomes.